When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. If you want to get access to any of my early content, check out my Discord. This is the Second Chance of Life, part 0. This is a complete restructure of my fanfiction of Poison Ivy's daughter. I decided to make my own OC for this story. No My Hero Academia will be involved in this one. Now, part 0, it's a slow burn. It's not really, there's no any action in it, at least in part 0. I'm building up the world, so I'm easing into it. Now, let's begin our story. We're going to start our story off with the main OC of this story, Rose Blackheart. Rose has always been a simple woman, dedicated her life to her education, top grades throughout her whole school career, middle school through high school and even college. She graduated with high marks. Because Rose is basically married to her career, she's never attempted to get close to anyone. Dating was way out of the question. She was far too busy, while her other colleagues got themselves either a husband or a wife. Rose has always remained single. Her whole life has been focused on one goal. Rose is a well-renowned scientist in her 30s. Rose is gathering her things. Rose just got to assign to a new project. Something about a new plant life they discovered. So Rose was thrilled about a brand new discovery of a new specimen of plant life. It immediately piqued her curiosity, so she gladly accepted to be one of the scientists in the project called Blackthorn. While Rose was packing what she needed, her cell phone started to go off. Rose looked at the caller ID and noticed that it's her mother, as she picked up the phone instantly. "Hey Mom, what can I do for you?" "You wound me, daughter." "Can a mother just call her own daughter once in a while? Haven't heard from you in a little bit." "I've been busy, Mom." "You're always busy. At this rate, you'll never find a decent husband." Rose scoffed at her mom's comment. "I'm far too busy for that." "You're so stubborn. I just want some grandkids." "You have plenty of grandkids from Violet." "Still not the same. I just want you to be happy and have a happy family. That's all." "Listen, Mom, I know you mean well. I'm just not ready for that sort of thing. My main priority has been my career. You know I'm proud of you, of what you have accomplished so far. I'll drop the subject for now. How's work been going?" "I can't say much, but I'm part of a new project. I'm in the middle of packing right now." Where exactly are you going, daughter? Siberia. That's all I know, Mother. I'll keep in touch. As Rose cut the line and put her phone back into her lab coat pocket and continued to pack her things, then she proceeded to load up her luggage into the back of the car. Once that was all done, she locked up her house and closed her garage and proceeded to drive away towards the nearest airport. When she arrived at the airport, she got the details in a text message directing her towards the part of the airport where all the private jets are being kept. As she parked her car in a parking spot, as a well-dressed man in a suit approached Rose. Good. You're just in time. Miss Blackheart, please follow me. Very well. Rose followed the man towards the private jet. Standing in front of the jet is a singular woman, wearing a lab coat, seemed to be waiting. Excellent. You're here. I like a woman who's punctual. I'm the head of the scientist of the project you'll be joining. Name's Vicky. Rose Blackheart. A pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. Follow me. It'll take 30 to 40 minutes before the jet gets warmed up and be able to take off. We could have a talk in the meantime. Vicky entered the jet while Rose followed behind. They eventually entered the lounge area of the private jet. As Vicky sat down and gestured Rose to sit down as well, as they both sit down on a round couch with a table in the middle. Rose sat on the round-looking couch right across from Vicky. Miss, can we get some drinks, please? As the stewardess walked off to get some drinks for the two scientists. I'm glad you agreed to join this project. We could really use your expertise. I must admit, the project name was a bit ominous. Sorry about that. The rest of the team decided to call it that. They have a weird sense of humor. I didn't like the name very much, but I got outvoted. The rest of the team are, how can I say it? They're unique. But why Siberia? It's out of the way, no sign of any civilization for miles away. The new species of plant life that we discovered originated from Siberia. We're uncertain if it's poisonous or not. Like I said prior, we found it in Siberia, so it's only natural. We have a laboratory out there. Because this is still connected to the military. This is a military contract. There'll be guards present for our safety. Here, you'll probably need this. As Vicky hand over a key card that will grant you full access. Just don't lose it. Got it? I'm surprised you even know about me and my work. You gotta be kidding me. You're very well known in our field. Never took you for the modest type, but I guess the rumors are true. You're more of a secluded person. I try to keep human interactions at the minimum. But despite that, I've worked with others in the past, so that won't affect my ability to do my job. Well, we'll definitely get along just fine. There's more involved in this project, but it's best not to speak it here, just in case the jet has been bugged. Everything will be revealed once we arrived at the laboratory. I brought an extra winter coat just in case you didn't have anything heavy in your luggage. Your luggage has already been loaded up into the jet from your car. When we arrive in Siberia, we'll be just arriving a couple days after the beginning of winter. Winter season out there. So you don't have to worry about that. Vicky took out a large amount of documents for Rose to fill out. Please read all the documents. It's protocol and all that. As Vicky placed the pen on the piece of documents in front of her and gently slide it over. Rose immediately begins to read the documents. Rose has no intention of glazing over the document. She's going to read every single sentence to make sure she understood what was at stake by signing this document. As Rose started to sign the document, each document with her initials and signature, one after another, she did find it odd, the name of the project. But in the document itself, there's usual waivers for, in case of death, they won't be responsible. She signed such waivers before, so it's nothing out of the ordinary for Rose. Once Rose read and signed every piece of the document, it honestly didn't take Rose very long. It was nothing. It was light reading for her. Vicky looked over the documents to make sure everything was signed properly. When everything was in order, she spoke. It seems like everything is working order. Miss Blackheart, welcome to the team officially. After their drinks was brought to their table, they're still sitting on the couch, or the round couch, as the private jet began to fully take off. Let me give me a second, guys. Once they got their beverage, Vicky and Rose took their wine glasses and gently collided with each other as they began to drink their wine and talk for the rest of the flight to Siberia. I'm quite curious, Miss Vicky, how did the Japanese government get the okay for a laboratory in Siberia? If I remember right, that's still part of Russia. It's quite easy, actually. It's a joint operation between Russian scientists and the scientists from Japan, like us. I see. As Rose calmly fixed her glasses on her face by moving them up with her finger. I know you can't tell me much now, but what are these new species of plants? Are they dangerous? We're not entirely sure yet. The safety precautions are put in place, just in case. I suggest you get comfortable. It's going to be like a 6-hour drive or so. No drive, but flight. Vicky watched Rose take some sort of small metal container, made of pure metal, and placed it on the table that she took out of her bag that she brought with her on the jet. As she opened up to reveal a very advanced robotic cat. The moment Rose spoke, it awoken. Time to wake up, lazy ass. As the robotic cat came to life. What exactly is that? This is my personal assistant. It's a bit lazy, but it gets the job done. As the robotic cat begins to lay on Rose's lap, quite fascinating. It acts like a normal cat. Does this robotic cat have some sort of artificial intelligence? Limited. A limited one. It's as smart as a normal house cat. It really doesn't have any self-awareness. I don't want to deal with the AI gaining awareness. That's just too much trouble for my liking. It just helps me with my work. I gotta admit, it's quite impressive. I had no idea you know robotics. I dabble in robotics now and then. What sort of defenses did you install in it? My own creation. I know there's no more than just plants and genetics. Precautions have been set in place, so there is no security risk for this lazy ass. Vicky and Rose drank wine a little bit and started to have small talk. Vicky wanted to get a better idea of Rose's personality. It was quite easy for Vicky to notice Rose has a very unique personality that complements her high intelligence. Serious. Not very good with socializing with others, but she knows enough to get the job done. Several hours later, they arrive at the airport in Russia. Rose and Vicky were wearing heavy winter coats as the robotic cat jumped into Rose's coat. I don't know where it is at, but give me a second. What the robotic cat looks like. Shadow. It's his name, basically. I just haven't said it in the script yet. Anyways, let's continue. As Shadow was beginning to produce heat, Rose installed a personal heater in Shadow as a feature. As they stepped off the plane and took a car and started to drive out of the airport, heading towards Siberia. After a several hour drive, they eventually got to a secluded road as they stopped through the first checkpoint. Vicky handed over her identity card and papers. Once they checked both of their papers and their identity cards, they waved them through. I forgot to ask, do you know Russian? I'm quite fluent in Russian. Good. So there won't be any language barriers between the teams. We're going to have to pass through several checkpoints. Luckily, just got in time. Winter is barely starting. Probably just missed. We probably got here just in time before the snowstorm that's about to hit us. After several hours of driving, they finally arrived at the location. It was a Russian military base that was built surrounding a humongous cave. Once they got out of the car, they began to walk through the military complex. After getting a proper ID for a scientist on the military base, they begin to go towards the large cave that clearly has been sealed off. Only way inside the cave is two large metal doors with soldiers from both sides, from the Japanese government and from the Russian government. They approached them, Rose and Vicky approached them. Once they went through a security check and patted down to make sure they didn't bring any weapons, they were allowed inside. The cave, like I said, has one of the Japanese soldiers alongside with a Russian soldier. As both soldiers opened the door for them to step in. Long entryway of the cave was reinforced with metal that looks like a large hallway. I wasn't expecting this. This level of the cave has been reinforced for convenience. Where we're going to have to go further down below. As they enter a elevator, the elevator begins to descend downward. Once the elevator eventually stopped moving after almost an hour of going down, the door opened up to reveal a humongous cavern. In the middle of the cave, there is a dome greenhouse. The dome itself is made of a very strong material with very tough glass, with artificial light shining down above the glass, like dome. And on the walls and ceiling of the cave is glowing crystals, glowing with an ominous glow. Clearly not natural. At least that's what Rose thinks initially. This is quite impressive. The new species of plant life is in that dome. Outside of that dome is the rest of the separate different buildings between laboratories, living area, and so on. We also have a living quarters down here. Allow me to show you to your quarters. Give you some time to adjust. Thank you, Miss Vicky. Vicky will be just fine. Mind if I just call you Rose? Of course, you're more than welcome. They begin to make their way towards the resident building, where the living quarters are at. After Vicky showed Rose her room, she begins to say her farewells and leave. Or begin to leave. You should probably get some rest. I'll introduce you to the rest of the team in the morning. As Vicky left Rose to go about her business. Meanwhile, Rose noticed all her belongings are already in her quarters. So she begins to unpack and hang up all her clothes in the closet and unpack all her grooming essentials into the bathroom. Toothbrush, hairbrush, shampoo, conditioner, and her own created body wash. Because normal body wash irritates her skin, so she had to make her own. After everything was unpacked, the robotic cat, or Shadow, jumped out of the winter coat and landed on the bed. As Rose began to hang up the winter coat in the closet and took out some ration bars to satisfy her slight hunger as she went to bed. The next morning, Rose got out of the bed and actually noticed her robotic cat, Shadow, is on the floor playing with a rubber ball. Rose walked into the bathroom to take a shower and to get ready. As she put some fresh pair of clothes. When she was fully dressed, she put her lab coat on. Enough playing around, Shadow. We're leaving. The robotic cat immediately hopped onto her shoulder. The robotic cat looks quite heavy, but the material that was made for it, the alloy that was used to create, is very light but very strong metal. And the robotic cat is about the size of a small house cat. So Rose had no discomfort with Shadow on her shoulder. Rose made her way out of the resident building. Then she decided to take a look around the place to get to know what building is what. Rose easily found all the different small laboratories. There were even a hot springs for relaxing purposes. Morning, Rose. I see you've been taking a look around. Morning, Vicky. I decided to take a look around the place to see where everything's at. Understandable. I would have done the same thing in your shoes. Come on, I'll introduce you to the rest of the team. Rose followed Vicky to a separate building that is used for the scientists to hold meetings and to shoot off ideas with each other. After Rose and Vicky entered the room, Vicky immediately introduced Rose to the rest of the science team. When everyone returned back to work, Vicky wanted to show Rose why she's here. There was a small building next to the entranceway to the greenhouse. Technically connected to the greenhouse. We're currently uncertain if the plant is poisonous or not, or if the plants were exposed to any type of bacteria that's been dormant. You should always wear one of these protected gear. As Vicky motioned to the radiation, well, they look like radiation suits, but they're not radiation suits at all. It's just a full cover bodysuit. Quite similar in looks, but they have two different purposes. Radiation suit tries to resist against radiation, keeps radiation out, but these storage suits keep everything out from germs and all that. After Rose put on the protected suit, with the help of Vicky, and Rose did the same thing, helped Vicky put it on. Once they were fully suited, they entered the little archway that closed behind, the door closed behind them. As the door begins to pressurize, or the hatch begins to pressurize. As once that was done, the metal door slid upwards, opening up, allowing them entry to the greenhouse. As they officially entered the greenhouse, Rose was amazed what she saw. Plant life she's seen with her own eyes. It almost seemed alien to her. The plants in question are humongous flowers that seems to have a stem like a tree trunk, but the top of it is of a flower. The flower petals are pitch black, and in the middle the flowers are glowing green. Rose was taken aback by these tree flowers, well, these tree-like flowers. Though Rose was wearing the protected suit, she fixed her glasses with her finger through the fabric of the headgear. I've never seen a specimen like this before. Don't know much about them. They naturally grew here, so we built a dome around it. They don't seem to need direct sunlight, but they seem to like the artificial light that's above the dome. And it's possible the crystals might give them some sort of light. That's probably why they've flourished in this cave. We're still uncertain how these flowers keep themselves alive. That's just a theory on my end. I take these plants don't have the ability to use the light as a food source, like most plants. We still don't know. We know very little about these giant flower trees. I'll show you to your lab. Once they left and removed the protected gear, as Vicky showed Rose to her own personal laboratory. Once they stepped inside the building, they entered the laboratory. It was a decent-sized laboratory. It was all the best equipment that Rose will need for her work. We've already have samples here for you to study. You could use that computer over there to catalog your progress and send me reports when you have any new data that I could look over. Jet, you did mention there's more to this project than what you have revealed so far. That is true. We do need to study this flower tree. But we also are going to be... But we need more. Our main goal here is making a hybrid of these plants. These plants have positive aspect in its DNA. Little what we know is very crucial that we succeed here. These plants have healing properties. It could help greatly in the medical field. I see, so that's why you need me here. Exactly as you say. You've made hybrid plants before, and you're definitely an expert in the field. Understood. I'll start analyzing the sample immediately. I'll let you get to it. I'll get out of your hair. I'll come by from time to time to check on your progress to see how you're doing. As Vicky said her farewells and left. The first thing Rose did was secure her lab by changing all the passcodes, so no one could gain entry besides her and Vicky. Vicky's technically her boss. But outside of that, no one will be allowed gain entry without her direct permission. Or Vicky's. Rose took one of the samples in the cold storage out. Only thing she saw in there was a decent sized metal box. As she took the metal box and put it in a container box. As she stuck her hands into gloves that are attached to the container, to the isolation like container. There's gloves into it, so you just have to stick your hand into it. As she used the glove hands to open up the box to reveal small black petals from the flower tree. Rose immediately did an incision and cut a piece off of the petal and put it in a small glass vial. The reason she's using a see-through container is for her own safety. That's why she opened up the sample in the container, or in the see-through safety container. She's uncertain if it would be dangerous if she was exposed directly. Rose extracted a sample of the petal. She closed up the sample box and took the box out of the container, or the contaminated container, and put it back into the cold storage and shut the door. She placed the sample in the vial in one of the machines as she closed the door, and immediately begins to scan the properties of the sample of the black petal. Meanwhile, Shadow, the robotic cat, was laying down on one of the counters of the lab. It only took Rose several days to get the results from her scanning equipment on the piece of the flower petal. Rose got an alert from Shadow that someone is entering her lab. Rose gently pet Shadow on the head as Vicky stepped into the lab. I see you have tightened security in your own lab. I can't have anyone walking into my lab. Who else has access? Just you and myself. As fascinating this topic is, I want to check on your progress so far. Rose hooked up the monitor to the large flat screen TV in the lab. As it shows images of that was on the monitor, on the television. As we see by the data, this new species of flower, it does have pretty impressive healing properties, but it's isolated, not easily extracted. I can see why you want to make a hybrid now. The healing properties of this plant is dormant, but is there. Impressive work. You got that much done only in a couple days. It's not all that impressive. I've only revealed the same data you already have access to. Regardless, it's still impressive. It took the team a week to figure that out, of the healing properties of the samples of the plant, and you did that only in a couple days. It's still impressive, Rose. But I got to admit, these tree flowers is quite complex compared to normal plants. What do we know about the history of this plant? Nothing much. It's just a prehistoric plant that managed to survive through the Ice Age. It doesn't require direct sunlight to grow. Like I said, my theory is the lights from the glowing crystals in the cave most likely provided them with enough light to feed off of. And there's a water vein underneath the flowers that provide them with plenty of water. Interesting. Could you think I'd get a couple samples of those glowing crystals? That shouldn't be a problem, but why though? Wait. You have the same suspicions that I do, that the glowing crystals are the light source? You don't think the glowing crystals have some sort of a factor in the flower tree's growth? Maybe the healing factor itself? It's a good possibility. It might be a factor or might not. It just might be a light source. That's why I want to study the crystals, just in case. Don't worry, I'll have someone get you a couple samples soon. I knew I made the right decision adding you to the team. I'll let you know when we have gathered them, as Vicky left the lab, to not interrupt Rose's work. And that's where we're going to stop it. I'll catch you guys in the next video.